Hi, my name is Len Elder, and welcome to Powerful Relationships, how to build business relationships that leverage the power of RESPA. So let's get started. In Module 1, the nature of today's relationships, we're going to set the framework and the mindsets for everything that I'm going to share with you throughout this innovative and cutting-edge course. So let me tell you a little bit about where we're going. In Module 1, we're going to talk about the changing world of business and real estate and how those trends and industry changes affect the way you build relationships and move forward. In Module 2 and 3, we're going to talk about building a powerhouse network that helps keep your business at the forefront of the industry. Then we're going to talk about how to keep the relationship safe, and we're going to talk about how to use innovative ways to foster them. Because here's been the result of much past REIA education. You know, I have been teaching RESPA classes on the Real Estate Settlement and Procedures Act for over 20 years now. And I first encountered it as an attorney practicing civil litigation. So I got to see the enforcement of RESPA from a private enforcement attorney aspect. Then I got involved in the mortgage and banking industry, and I got to see how RESPA affected the day-to-day business practices and the creation of business by mortgage professionals. Then I got my real estate broker's license, and I got to see the impact of RESPA on real estate licensees and their brokerages. And today, I see it from the standpoint of teaching. So throughout all of that, I have sat through many RESPA courses and taught dozens more. Except here has been the problem with a lot of past education on RESPA. I always felt that so much of those courses were filled with a list of do-nots, and they helped us to understand and maybe memorize some statutory language, but they really didn't show us how to apply it and how to build our business given that regulatory framework. And in the end, I kind of felt like a ship in the storm. I left the class afraid about the business relationships that I was building and afraid of RESPA enforcement. So today we're going to overcome all of that by taking a different and more positive approach. Because the weather out there in the real estate industry is changing, right? I mean, did you notice that over the last couple of years, the real estate industry has changed just a bit? I mean, throughout my experience in the legal profession, the mortgage banking profession, and real estate, I have never seen an industry or profession change as fast as real estate has over the last couple of years. We have a whole new influx of technology, and we have a whole different focus and need to build relationships that work within the regulatory framework that we're subject to. And you have the right, as a student of this course, to say, Len, how would you know? Well, I teach real estate courses nationally, from brokerages, from small to large to the in-between, to many different associations and organizations, and from one coast of this country to the other. And so I have had the chance to talk with many practicing agents and brokerage owners about the impact of RESPA, how they are dealing with it, and how they are driving their business forward in an era of new trends and technology in real estate. Because it really is still all about building relationships that work. Real estate and the related settlement service provider professions have always been built on the strength of relationships. And the good news is that today we have more ways to build and strengthen those relationships than ever before. We just have to be attentive to the regulations we are subject to and make certain that we are crafting relationships that survive the test of that regulatory climate. So when I look at it, I tend to think of it as 360 degrees of treasured relationships. Because the starting point is we have to come to a realization, understanding of the relationships and the settlement service providers that I need today to make my real estate business flourish. Then, I need to know how to keep those relationships safe. I need to understand what it is that I can do and know how to avoid the things that I shouldn't be doing due to federal statutes and regulations such as the Real Estate Settlement and Procedures Act. And finally, as a business person today, I want to know how I use some cutting-edge ideas and innovation to foster those relationships. So in order to set the tone for this course, we have to talk about some fundamental mindsets and principles. Let's call them principles of sailing, since we're going on this journey today together, you and I, that I and we should believe. First of all, we are all in this boat together. I think that it's part of the social media fallout. You know, we teach an awful lot of technology and internet-related courses because technology has become such an important part of who we are today as professionals. And today, more than ever before, our success is inherently tied to the success of others. And as I watch the top producing real estate professionals try to build meaningful and lasting relationships, they are increasingly focused on how do I make the people that I am aligned with and the other settlement service providers with whom I work more successful. Because their success, in turn, makes us successful. And not everyone should be invited to your boat. Today, we know, and you're about to see some statistics that document the fact that our clients and consumers, more so than ever before, turn to and rely on us as real estate professionals to help guide them through a real estate transaction. And in doing so, they're counting on good, solid, and reliable information and connections that we provide them. And let's face it, there's some people out there that you just don't want or need to do business with. So we have to come to an understanding of the kinds of people we want to build connections with and how do we find them. And successful sailing takes a crew. You know, there isn't a single one of us that can be successful in this industry without the help and support of others. And I'm willing to bet that regardless of how long you've been in the real estate profession, that you've come to discover that you can't close a real estate transaction without the help of a good and knowledgeable mortgage professional, without somebody in title and escrow, without an appraiser, without a home inspector. And in fact, what you're going to find and discover throughout this course is that the list of people that we need to be successful today is broader than it's ever been. Because one of the things that I did in preparation for this class is I interviewed and talked to top producing agents and brokerages all over the country. And I was a bit shocked and surprised by the lengthy and comprehensive list of relationships that they were building in order to be successful. We're going to share that information with you in Module 2 of this course. Because today, we might as well say welcome to the age of collaboration. You know, technology and understanding how to be successful with it today is more than just understanding what website to go to and what buttons to push. We have to understand that a big part of the results of social media has been a new age of collaboration, where consumers and clients expect and want to be connected, and where they look to us to be the source of those connections. And our final mindset principle is, when in doubt, find an expert. Look, I know that in your pre-licensing or broker licensing training, you were told to always stay within the area of your expertise. And that meant that we shouldn't be given legal or tax advice to our clients in real estate transactions. But what has happened in the meantime is that the world of real estate transactions has become more and more complex. Let's take just a small portion of our industry at the moment, the short sale area. You know, our clients turn to us and ask about legal implications, tax ramifications, and a whole bunch of other questions related to short sales and the current distressed properties market. Today, leading real estate professionals are finding new ways to provide that expertise while not exposing themselves to liability in terms of the information they are providing. We need to understand how they are doing that, what they are doing in those relationships, and how they have built those relationships in a RESPA compliant fashion. Because our primary obligation has always been to protect and promote the interests of our clients and consumers. In fact, it's the fundamental underpinning of Article 1 of the NAR Code of Ethics. Because to be a realtor for life means that you are a full-service agent for life. And today, being a full-service agent involves more than ever. And it's much more complex than it was even a few short years ago. In order to support that, let me introduce you to the NAR profile of home buyers and home sellers. It's really an incredible resource. Because every year, the National Association of Realtors polls our past clients and our past customers and asks them to provide answers concerning their real estate experience. I'd be the first one to admit that there are large portions of that profile that you would regard as nice to know information, so what? I mean, information about average sales prices in this area versus that, days on market here versus there. But there's a wealth of marketing and consumer information available to you through that resource. And you can get the annual profile at realtor.org. I want to share with you just one small portion out of the profile. And it's Exhibit 4-11, which talks about the benefits provided by a real estate agent during a home purchase. And the question was answered by both first-time and repeat buyers. 66% of buyers were going to the internet to try and understand the process of buying a home. You know, that piece of fundamental information will change the entire way you approach marketing in the coming months. Because we now know the consumers are going on the internet some 60 days before they ever contact a real estate professional. And contrary to popular opinion, they're probably not going there initially to look for specific homes or to even try and connect with a real estate professional. They're going there in order to learn more about the process. In other words, they're looking up information such as, how do I qualify for an FHA loan? What is an FHA 203K loan? What's a 1031 tax deferred exchange? How do I buy an REO property? What do I need to know before I list my home as a short sale? And so the best and the leading real estate professionals out there today have changed their marketing approach. Look at it this way. In the past, we approached consumers at this point in their buying timeline, the point where they decided, yes, I need to look at homes or I need to find a real estate professional. But what we now know is they've been engaged in that process for a long time before they ever got to here. Back here, early in the time frame, they started going to the internet looking for basic information about the process. So if we can find settlement service providers and build relationships in a way that helps them understand the process, then we begin our marketing efforts to them much earlier in the time frame. And for many of you, I would suggest that's what's happening to your business. That when we market to people at this point in the timeline, the competition is fierce because every agent is trying to contact and interact with that consumer, that buyer, that seller at that point. Here, we have a much better chance to position ourselves the expert and intersect with that client and consumer and begin building the relationship sooner. 41% of consumers said they wanted a better list of service providers. You know, I don't know about you, but that statistic really surprised me. I mean, for gosh sakes, we live in an internet world. Any consumer, any buyer, any seller can go to the internet right now as we're talking, log on and say, give me the name of a mortgage lender in my area. Give me the name of a title company. I'm looking for a good home inspector. And yet, the statistic here is up. And that's because despite all of that technology on the internet, consumers are less trusting today than they were in the real estate industry just 5 years ago. So they are turning to you as a real estate professional and essentially begging us to give them a better and a more comprehensive list of settlement service providers that they can turn to service their needs during the real estate transaction. Today, you have to have a pretty developed list. And finally, 21% of them said they want a better list of mortgage lenders. So providing information to these clients across these categories, well, you simply can't do any of that without a crew. So the starting point is for you to begin building a better and a stronger network of settlement service providers that can help you and your client. And if you buy in to all of the mindsets that we've discussed in Module 1, then your next question logically would be, who do I need to have in my network today and why? So here's what we did. We went out and interviewed a number of top producing agents and their brokerages, and we got from them their list of settlement service providers and the networks they were building. And we're going to share that with you in Module 2 to help push your business to the next level. Because before you have relationships that you need to worry about being RESPA compliant, you have to have the relationship network to begin with. And we'll work on that in the next module.